Welcome everybody to today's video. Here we are currently at a place that I've actually never filmed before. It is called Campbelltown, but the location we are currently at is called Simmos Beach. Throughout today's video, I'm going to be giving you some very interesting information whilst we are here today, and some little bit of back history towards a family that actually used to live here. Without further ado, let's get right into today's adventure.
Simmos Beach is located on the Georges River. The reserve, which was officially opened in 1986, is named after Bob Simmonds, a past resident who mined sand adjacent to the Georges River for a number of years. The reserve's extensive areas of bushland, proximity to the river and connectivity with the Georges River Regional Open Space. Simmo's walking trail various tracks ranging from 500 metres to 1.5 kilometres return walks. The grade tracks range from easy, paved, mostly flat through to hard, narrow, sloping and unsealed tracks.
So where we're standing right here is apparently a family of 8 used to actually live around this section or above up the top of the hill. About this area was quite fascinating when I did some back history, where I actually got to listen to an interview of 2 of the 8 children that actually used to live here. One was named Margaret Simmonds and the other one was kensimmonds. Now they were very intriguing to listen to. I will leave the interviews that were done by Claire in the description below, that you can go listen to the full thing, because the history behind of how they used to live in a tin shack was very quite fascinating to listen to. Throughout today I'm going to be very immersed and intrigued to see where the rest of it's going to go for myself, and just realize of how people actually used to live in this land. It's going to be a very fascinating yet interesting experience to see what the rest has to actually yet to come.
I'm Claire Lynch. I'm from Campbelltown City Library, and I'm here at Campbelltown Hospital, and I'm interviewing Margaret Mellish.
I'm Margaret Mellish. I was Margaret Simmonds. You bought a house at Macquarie Fields.
Yep.
With a swimming pool. It was an old tin shack.
Oh,
with tin windows. We had to poke a stick out to open the windows.
Oh my gosh.
Lined with cardboard or buckled masonite. And the swimming pool was the Georges River.
Oh my gosh.
No electricity, no running water. And it was only like a 2 little bedroom with a small room.
Yep.
And my dad built double bunks.
Mm-hmm.
And us 8 kids, we sleep head and foot. I would have been maybe 10.
Okay.
11.
Yep.
I would have had to be. The furniture from the house in Atkinson Street was all in the back of a truck, and us 6 kids are sitting on the furniture in the back of the truck going down to Macquarie Fields.
Blimey.
And the roads were just all rock. We had to chop wood and cart water by the buckets after buckets after buckets to keep Mum supplied, so that we could keep the wood up to Mum.
Yep.
With the old fuel combustion stove.
Yeah.
Buckets would be nothing for us to cart 30 buckets of water every afternoon. And my mum had a big round tub, and We used to half fill it with the cold water, 44-gallon drum, with a copper. And she'd boil the water, bath us, you know. It was only a tin shack outside with just curtains around.
And so that area became known as Simmos Beach.
They named it after me mum and dad.
Yes.
Because of living there with 8 kids.
Yeah.
We had an old kerosene refrigerator, and mum had an old ice chest. We used to get blocks of ice and that to put in it. Fuel stove had to be going 24/7. Us kids even tried carving steps in stones, in rocks down there, still there now. We only had screwdrivers and chisels, and we broke that many. The rocks were too hard. We had to jump up on rocks and had to get up to the road. There was a big pump on the river. It's got the truck where they pump the sand and go into the back of his truck, you know, and so on. We had to have the old flat iron on the fuel stove to get hot, and we had to iron our clothes inside out because we'd get black over our clothes, you know, from the fuel stove. The fuel stove, Mum used to battle, make us a meal, always made sure there was plenty for us kids.
Did it have anything lining it on the inside?
Cardboard and buckled masonite.
And what was the floor made out of?
Dirt.
Just a dirt floor.
Where our house was, that's a car park. Exactly the spot, that's where our house was.
A movie was filmed at Simmos Beach in 2016 called Killingground, which is a horror thriller movie where this couple go on a romantic trip that becomes a desperate fight for survival in this ultra-raw, unhinged kill ride they go on. I'll leave full details of film and the trailer in description below.
Behind me is where we are going to be starting our walking along the Simmos Track. Now, the Simmos Track is one of the longest tracks here that you can do within Simmos Beach. It's going to be very interesting to see where it's going to go today. I know from looking at the map that we saw earlier of the video, you could see that it's going to be looping around. So we should be going by the end of it back to where we started, which will be very beneficial for those who are wanting to do this track too. Make sure to definitely wear covered boots as you will be walking for a while within doing this trail, and also just to take in the nature. So let's begin doing the Simmos Track.
The Simmos Track is a 3.9 kilometres trail, grade 3 difficulty bushwalk, long lathe track with some steps and steep incline. Explore all corners of Simmos Beach, taking in the river and the diverse sandstone vegetation along the ridgetop. You'll see the whole reserve in all of its glory. Bob Simmonds was a notorious sand miner along the river during the 1950s. Bob's activities were illegal. The sand he mined was sold for building uses in Sydney, and digging for it became a local growth industry. By late 60s, there was a push to stamp out these dredging operations. Regeneration of the bushland was later undertaken by Campbelltown Council.
One little fact that I find interesting on a website that I found that I'll also leave in the description, telling me around winter season is where mist actually comes along the Georges River, which is actually quite a nice thing to know about that, because I bet actually looking earlier how misty it actually looked. I'm really glad they put that in there, including of the other seasons as well that had other information about it. But this I wanted to actually bring up for those who wanted to come here around the season that I'm in now and actually check it out for themselves, because it would be a pretty nice sight to see.
Georges River was important focal point for the Aboriginal life and culture in the Sydney region. Several major languages groups existed along the river. Eora to the east, Daharug to the west, north and northeast, Dawahol to the south, and Gardingara in the far southwest. Much of the catchment was cleared for farmlands and housing. However, the bunks stayed relatively untamed due to their rugged slopes. Development within has flourished since World War II. Today, the Georges River surrounds a highly significant landscape feature of the Sydney region and the Campbelltown environment. It's home to much of the biodiversity that can be in the region. Little fact, across the Georges River still has army barracks with a fence still around. As you're exploring, you will hear, depending on when they are there or month, occasional shooting noises as they are practicing.
So I'm having a chat to Ken, who is Margaret Mellish's younger brother by 10 years. Is that correct, Ken?
That's true.
You lived at Simmos, obviously, from when you were a baby
True.
until when?
1965.
Which would have made you...
14 and 10 months when I left home.
Okay. What are your memories of living at Simmos?
There's some good and some bad.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Was the swimming in the river in the summertime, camping in the cave. The downside of it was having to go home every day from school and chop firewood and cart water from the river. I was the second youngest. 600 metres of river on my property, right? And I got a water pump down there that I use, and I'm thinking, why didn't we have one of these down at Simmos?
Yeah, that's exactly what would have made your life a bit simpler.
You know, if we had one of those down at Simmos, in the early days, it would have made it a lot easier for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And do you want to just tell me a little bit of story again about that there were people at Simmos before you guys?
Well, there was a family that lived on 5th Avenue
Yep.
while we lived there, and their name was Stornings. Yeah, that was the old man. Yeah, and I don't know whether it was actually only them or whether it was their father, their parents that owned it before that even.
Right.
You know, I think they went back a fair way, a long way down there.
Yeah.
We wasn't the first to live there, we was the last to live there. We moved out, my mother and father and that moved out in 66.
Yeah.
and never went back. The shack was down there for a while, but I think somebody torched it, you know,
Right.
burned it to the ground. The person who suggested the name was Mrs. Quelch, who used to live in Cypress Street in the Forest Hill. Now I grew up with the Quelches and went to school with the Quelch family too.
Yeah.
There's a family of those. And Freddie Quelch was the father.
Well, it's been Simmos for a long time.
Yeah.
When you think about it, back from the 50s,
And, you know,
that's like 70 years.
and
Yeah.
it was illegally dredging the miners' sand in there.
Yeah.
And it sort of makes me laugh because up there where I am, I've got that 600 metres of river.
Yeah.
And we needed to patch up some of the road because part of the road's unmaintained council road through
Yeah.
Moffa. Down there with the tractor and load the truck with the stuff down the river.
Did it
And
bring back a few memories, did it?
but we're not selling it. We're not
No,
selling it.
no.
We're repairing the road with it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy for it to be Simmos.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable.
You
Been
know.
Simmos a long, long time. Simmos is not just your dad, it's like it's the Simmonds
That's
family.
the family. And before Faulkner owned it, Alan Morecambe's old man owned it. Land that he owned down there, where old Steve's place and that was, he got behind in the land rates. And Jimmy Faulkner was into it, he knew Harry owned it. And Harry said to him, if you pay the back rates, he said, you can have it.
Ah.
So that's how Faulkner's ended up with the land down there.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So did you guys all learn to swim down there at Simmos?
Oh, did we ever?
Yeah.
Because the old man dredged the river, it was always deep. And if there was a tree in the right place for a swing to go on it, we done that all the time.
Yeah.
And there's caves on this side of the river and also on the other side of the
Okay.
river. And it was nothing for us in the summertime to
Yeah.
be camped in the cave. The old man used to allow the scouts to come down there and camp
Yep.
down there, and they used to have activities down on the river and that. It was good because my mates would come down in the summertime. They'd help me get the firewood. So the quicker I could get the firewood, we ended up rigging up what we call the flying fox.
Oh, yes.
Wire fence,
Yeah.
or fence wire,
Yeah.
from a tree up near the house down to one down near the river.
Yeah.
And we put this little wheel on there with a hook on it,
Yeah.
and we put and a rope on that, and we went down the old high dive down Parliament Road. And Masher Means, he's got one rigged up going down into the river with a bit of water pipe on it. We had to climb up a tree and hang onto this bit of water pipe
Oh my God.
and just fly down this wire into the river.
Really?
And then that's where we got the idea of rigging something up. So Bo would go down at the river and fill the buckets up and hook it on.
Ah.
And
Should have been done before.
hey,
we
and I
left.
was up the top and I'd pull
Pulling
it
them
up
up.
and tip it in and send it back down. The fire going all day, which we've got to get the firewood for.
Yeah.
And two lots, one for the inside for cooking,
Yes.
one for the outside to boil the
Copper.
copper up. We'd put cold water in the bath. We'd heat boil the water up in the copper. We'd have to bucket that out and tip it in the bath, and then we had to cart water from the river to fill it up again for Mum to do the washing the next day.
Oh my goodness.
Well, there ended up being 4 bedrooms in that place, but there was no lounge rooms. There was
No.
nothing. There was a kitchen.
Yeah.
You come in the front door.
Yeah.
There was a big table that
Yeah.
had bench stools and a chair on either end of it. And then there was a fireplace on the right. Then there was a door into a bedroom. And then there was a middle bedroom. And then there was another one on the other end. And then half of that was partitioned off, and Mum and Dad's bedroom was behind that.
Right.
But you had to walk through the middle bedroom to get to
Okay.
their bedroom.
Yeah.
And the bathroom was over behind the old shed, which was only an old corrugated thing, and the laundry was part of the bathroom.
Right. Well, that's amazing. So much history and so many people and
Yeah, there was good times down there. I mean, we had great times in the summertime. When you look back, it really never hurt us. It made us, I think it made us
made
better
us
people.
stronger.
certainly made you guys
Made us
strong.
So that's how it was.
Amazing. Well, thanks, Ken.
No, that's all
That's
good.
fantastic.
So I'm actually just halfway into the Simmos Track, and believe it or not, it takes us back to where you come from within the gate. So if I show here in just a minute, this is actually where we're going right behind me right now. So we're about into it. I can't believe what I've seen so far. It's been quite an actual interesting, fascinating, just going through what we have seen, looking around and immersing into all to the different of the nature. And what an achievement of just able to just see what we could along the river. Now you can hear the kookaburras in the background to give it that very ambient nature sounds. So yes, on to the next half we go. This is the place where I'm going to be having my lunch now, but I just want to say, so far really enjoying myself, really taking this all in. And I would imagining, as we've been listening to the over narration of some little bit of facts that I've given along the way, as well as hearing a bit of Ken and Margaret, I think it's really been quite a joyful experience to really just be around the whole surroundings of what they used to live when they grew up for many years. Just hearing their stories, hearing about how their living situations, as mentioned earlier, of where they lived to where they are now, how far they've come into their life. I really think it's quite an interesting atmospherical experience that, you know, some people have lived interesting lives than others. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity, thanks to Claire, who actually did the interview of Margaret and Ken, to allow me to able to put it for my YouTube video. It really thoroughly made my day a lot, and so appreciative for them able to do that. I'll explain a little bit more when I get to the end of the video concluding, but overall I'm just really taking this all in, enjoying all the little bit of wildlife flowers as well along the way. This has been quite a very nice experience to be a part of.
The reserve is part of the Upper Georges River corridor and sits at the gateway of the sandstone-dominated areas of the Warrenora Plateau that has cut into the sandstone to create a tight valley with steep bush-covered sides, small beaches, and upstream many spectacular rock outdrops. In 2019, a funding grant of $51,000 was awarded to Council in partnership with Georges River Riverkeeper to restore the creek line that runs into the pristine Simmos Beach Reserve. The work focused on controlling invasive weeds, planting local natives, improving water quality flowing into the river, and supporting the volunteer works of Simmos Beach Bush Care Group. It was then completed over a 3-year period that wrapped up in October 2021.
I finally just finished doing Simmos Track, and oh my god, a truly fantastic experience it was. Just really adventuring around, taking in so much of the nature here, as well as just also taking a look back of how the Simmonds family actually lived around here and able to do what they could bestly do in the time that they were around. And so just hearing the words from former past family relations like Margaret and Ken, they really opened my eyes up of what the experience was going to be like throughout today. And just doing the whole track too, I got a whole feeling of just interestingness, of just mystery of where it was going to go today. So I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I felt that the track was quite simple to get along, as there were plenty of posts showing the arrows where you had to go. There was probably a part of the track where I may have got a little bit lost, but then eventually I found where I had to go and continue along the way. Overall experience just being here, I think a good, definitely a 10 out of 10 for a definitely great high approval in my opinion. So make sure to definitely check out Simmos Beach if you're traveling to Campbelltown. Definitely recommend coming here to check this place out. I want to give also a big thank you to Campbelltown City Council and Claire for allowing me to use the interview alongside of the Simmonds family, as I really wanted to dedicate also this video towards them, which I think I've hopefully done justice for everyone watching. It's been such a really fantastic yet incredible, awesome time being here. Well, thank you everyone for watching today's video, and until next time, life's an unexpected journey, and I will see you all in another one of my videos. Take care everyone. Bye.
Here you are at 82.
At 82.
Yeah, yeah.
And here's me, I thought I'd be one of the first to go, and yet I'm of the girls, you know.
Yes.
But I'm the last surviving girl.
Would you say now that you had had a happy life since just having your own space and your own life?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Absolutely, love.
yeah. So you'd earned a little bit of peace and joy,
We did.
hadn't you?
And since then, we've never looked back.
Yeah. Oh,
I
that's
love my
good.
kids.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd live to see them grow up. Now I've got 11 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren.
No, how good is that?
Absolutely lovely.
That's fantastic.
Wouldn't swap it for the world, love.
Yeah, yeah.
Wouldn't swap it.
Oh, good for you.
Check out the Grand A 94 socials on TikTok and Instagram, alongside subscribing to this YouTube channel. If like to donate, I have as well a Patreon that all proceeds will contribute to equipment, content and behind the scenes images. Also a merch store via Redbubble that has clothing, magnets and other types of things to check out. Thanks for watching and enjoy looking through many more videos of mine. See you next time.